Assalamualaikum and have a good day everyone. This is the last subtopic in chapter 1 and we will explore the fascinating world of metabolic response to aerobic and anaerobic exercise. This is a crucial topic to understand how our bodies generate and use the energy under different exercise condition form. It is essential for the foundation of performance enhancement, fatigue management and training prescription. Begin with anaerobic metabolism. As you know, anaerobic activity are characterized by high intensity and short duration, like sprinting or weightlifting. In the first 5 to 10 seconds, energy comes predominantly from the ATP PCR system. This system provides immediate energy, but the supply is very limited. When the store depletes, the body shifts to anaerobic glycolysis by breaking down the glucose into pyruvate. Without sufficient oxygen, this pyruvate will be converted into lactate. The key metabolic responses are increased lactate accumulation, which contributes to muscle fatigue, drops in pH level and leads to metabolic acidosis, a major reason for the burning sensation you feel during intense exertion. And last, phosphocreatine resynthesis happen during recovery period, allow the system to reload for the next burst. This graph illustrates the relationship between work intensity and blood lactate concentration. It shows how lactate accumulates as exercise intensity increases. Look at the left side of the graph. Regenerative or low intensity endurance training. At low intensity, lactate level remain low and stable. This is because energy demand are easily met through aerobic metabolism. As intensity rises into moderate to high intensity endurance training, we approach the aerobic threshold, the point where lactate just begin to accumulate above resting level. This is often referred to as the aerobic and aerobic transition zone. Beyond this, lactate production exceeds clearance capacity. The graph shows a slightly rise in lactate as we cross the maximum lactate steady state MLSS. It also called the anaerobic threshold. This is the highest intensity at which lactate accumulation is stable over time. At very high intensities, the right side of the graph, typical of interval training or sprint session, lactate concentration rises exponentially because anaerobic glycolysis predominates and lactate production far exceeds removal. To aerobic metabolism, this support moderate to low intensity, sustained activities such as jogging, cycling or swimming over longer duration. Here, the body relies on oxidative phosphorylation, where both carbohydrates and fats are metabolized in the mitochondria to produce ATP. Oxygen plays a critical role as the final electron acceptor in this process. Important responses during aerobic work includes a rise in VO2, your oxygen consumption. Your oxygen consumption increases to meet energy demand. Greater fat utilization, especially as the duration of exercise extends. Gradual depletion of muscle glycogen store the longer the activity continue. Now the figure illustrates the citric acid cycle, or also known as Krebs cycle or TCA cycle, the central pathway in aerobic metabolism where carbohydrates from glucose and fat from fatty acid are broken down to produce energy. Acetyl-CoA is the key entry molecule formed from glucose via glycolysis or fatty acid via beta oxidation. Acetyl-CoA combined with oxaloacetate to form citrate, starting the cycle. The Krebs cycle is the hub of aerobic metabolism. It allows sustained ATP production for long duration, moderate to low intensity exercise by oxidizing carbohydrate and fat efficiently. This is the diagram of electron transport chain ETC within the inner mitochondrial membrane, a key component of aerobic metabolism. Let's walk through each step. Okay, it starts with redox of NADH plus H plus at complex 1. The electron go to complex 1, 4 protons pump from matrix to intermembrane space. Next, redox of FADH2 at complex 2. Coenzyme Q pick up the electron from complex 1 and 2 and transport to complex 3. The next step, redox of complex 3, 4 protons pump from matrix to intermembrane space. Carrier C transport electron to complex 4. The fourth step, redox of complex 4, 2 protons pump from matrix to intermembrane space, formation of H2O, the 2% of water in the body. And the last step is ATP synthase action, pumps protons from intermembrane space to matrix and produce ATP from ADP plus phosphate and energy. Okay, now let's explore about the crossover concept. It is a key idea in exercise metabolism. As exercise intensity increases, your body transitions from primarily using fat to relying more on carbohydrate for fuel. Several factors influence this shift. The first factor is exercise intensity. The harder you work, the more your body prefers carbs. The second factor is duration. Over time, fat usage can increase as glycogen depletes. Next, training status. Trained individuals can sustain fat use at higher intensity compared to untrained people. The last factor is diet. A carb-rich or fat-rich diet can alter fuel preference. Now, let's consider how hormones regulate metabolism during exercise. In anaerobic exercise, we see increased epinephrine and norepinephrine. These hormones stimulate energy release. Glucagon level raise while insulin decreases, helping to mobilize glucose. High lactate level trigger growth hormone and cortisol release. In aerobic exercise, we have sustained elevation in cortisol and growth hormone, which promote fat breakdown. Increase catecholamine to support glucose availability. Together, these hormones ensure to maintain blood glucose, enhance lipolysis for fat energy, and preserve of protein, minimizing muscle breakdown. Here I provide 5 key points for you to remember. Anaerobic needs ATP PCR and glycolysis. It's fast but limited. Aerobic is oxidative metabolism, more efficient compared to anaerobic but a bit slower. The fuel selection depends on intensity, duration and fitness level. The hormone regulates substrate use and energy balance. And the last point is training shift fuel usage and improve metabolic efficiency. For your attention, please review today's material and I encourage you to reflect on how this knowledge applies to different sports and training regimens.